That makes no sense. Hello, yes, everybody. I'm gonna do a nice little live stream. I'm actually in the middle of a review right now, and wanted to while I'm waiting for my requisite review period, I said, you know what, I'll come on and do a live stream because that's the kind of guy I am. So I'll wait for some folks to show up. In the meantime, I'll go ahead and have another one of these Dr. Norm's chocolate chip cookies. I have had 3 so far of 10, so this is number 4. Not that you guys couldn't do the very simple addition there, but, you know, just in case, I don't want to be an ableist. These are very bad, by the way. They don't taste like the part that is bad about these cookies, and I just got done bitching about this, so I'll bitch about it some more. The taste is terrible. The taste isn't weed. The weed taste isn't terrible. It's just that the cookie itself in every other metric is terrible. But, you know, these might be the most mind-blowing cookies ever, so open mind. C. O'Neill says, that's an awesome song. C. O'Neill, what is an awesome song? And thank you for joining us, by the way, C. O'Neill. Wow. And welcome, Derek. Glad you could join us, man. Sorry. Talking with my mouth full like an asshole. Those cookies, man, take a while to get down. Whew. Okay, so let's get the party started, as the kiddies like to say. I'm gonna grab a volcano bag behind me. I've got ready to go here. While that's filling up, I'll go ahead and do another one of these miserable bastards. Then I'm halfway through. Halfway through. Chew. Woo! Gotten a little better at it, thankfully. Derek, you said, Derek said he's looking for his spray now. Are you referring to like a mouth spray, like the Breeze spray that I used last week? I finished it on Sunday. I finished it yesterday, actually, and doubled down on my endorsement of it. Hey, good to see you too, as a hillbilly hippie. Thanks for joining us again, man. Hope you're a little bit cooler out there in Georgia. Although, from what I understand, the heat wave was especially bad this weekend. Which, sorry everyone. Yeah, so I doubled down on my endorsement of the Breeze spray. It's excellent, really good value for 1,000 milligram edible. I see it now for, I see it routinely for between 55 and 60 bucks, which is a very good deal for what is certainly 1,000 milligram tincture spray. Loved it. So if you are like me and you like your edibles, you like your edible experience, but you don't like eating 10 Dr. Norm's mini cookies, Breeze, man. And in the end, it's way cheaper. So let's get off that for now. Breeze, you saw my review. Loved it. 13 says, I'm going to toke on some good old Alabama homegrown from last season. Feeling good. So you've got a grow operation there in Bama, hey? Roll Tide? Is that what I'm supposed to say? Where in Alabama are you? 13. Say Alabama, man. What a state. What a state. One of the 8 that bordered Tennessee. Jason Andrew, what up? Not too much, man. Thanks for joining us again. Johnny Garcia says, what's up from California? Well, Johnny, I'm right here in California with you, and I can tell you what's up in California, and that is the number of coronavirus cases, which isn't funny. It's really not. It's actually super sad and fucked up, and we were doing so well. Crap. Derek says, sprayed up. Oh, is that the name of the brand? Tony Villanueva says, or Villanueva, excuse me. Yo, just got Plug and Play strawberry champagne. Doesn't disappoint at all. You should try it if you haven't. Tony, I don't think I've done the strawberry champagne, but the next time I re-up with get a new Plug and Play cart, which, you know, I'm looking for an excuse to get a new Plug and Play, or Plug Play, and I'm just about done with my Icon review here, which is a new pod system, another one. I'm just about done, so maybe I'll do another head-to-head, do an Icon versus Plug Play, not because I need to, because I can tell you Plug Play is going to be better, but because it will be an excuse to get another Plug Play. Person says, how everyone been? Good person. How about yourself? Glad you could join us again. I think I missed you somewhere in there. Stephanie, welcome back, Steph. Glad you could join us again. And Tony says he can't wait for the possible Plug Play review. Plug Play is not, there's unfortunately also not a dispensary, none of the like 5 dispensaries that are in walking distance of me, I think have Plug Play right now. So I'd have to get in a car and drive, which is so foreign now, so weird. I've driven. I don't know what I'm saying, but I haven't driven far. So we are volcanoing here. I'll get everybody caught up. I'll show everybody the weed here in a moment. But I'm here for a little bit. Decided to pop on in between doing a review. I started this a little bit ago. I have eaten 5 of these Dr. Norm's chocolate chip cookies. I can't tell you about how they are working yet, but what I can tell you is that I don't like the taste of them. They're like sand. Once you bite into it, it's just like a mouthful of sand. Sorry, Dr. Norm, I've been really slagging on you. Not because, and again, Dr. Norm, and I don't know why I'm addressing you as if you're a real person, but you will be totally vindicated, and all will be forgiven if you end up being quite potent. So we'll see. Johnny Garcia says, peace, everyone, stay safe. Yes, I appreciate the sentiment, and everyone please do whatever you can to stay healthy, stay safe, and stay sane. 13 asks, what's the milligrammage? It is 100, or according to the lab testing results there on the back, 101.81. Because yes, that's what we need, is we need our lab testing results to the to the 100th decimal place. Why? What could that ever possibly matter? I don't know. But, I'm glad it's there. 108.1 milligrams. 101.8, not even 102, but 101.81. I think I just said that wrong so many times. Sort of suggesting maybe it's actually more than 101.81. I have just to sort of let you know what I've been wasting my life doing in this quarantine period. I haven't actually sold ice cream in now over a week, and I really miss it because just to be safe, I decided to get or my wife actually decided to get a coronavirus test last Sunday. She wasn't feeling 100%, so just in case, I was like, oh, well, if you have it, there's a very decent chance that I would have it as well. So, it's the responsible thing to do is not to sell any food-based things until, of course, I know for sure one way or the other. But goddamn this United States and our unfailing ability to fuck things up, and now test results are starting to take an obscenely long amount of time, way longer than it took, in April and May to get results back. We were told originally the shocking time frame of 5 to 7 days, and is now 5 to 10 days. And I assume could even slip past that. It's just shameful. It's totally shameful. Boy. But anyways, I brought that up to say what I've been wasting my life on, because I haven't been doing that, is I've been playing so much of this game that I've mentioned called Hard Space Shipbreaker, and oh my god, I can't stop. I can't stop. It is a simulator. How can you simulate something that doesn't exist? Wait, of course you can simulate something that doesn't exist. That's what you can speculate all kinds of things. But it is a simulation of what somebody assumes being a shipbreaker, who is a person who tears apart ships for scrap that are no longer useful. It's a very dangerous job that exists here in the world, but it is for, seaworthy vessels when some giant ocean liner it's no longer fuel efficient. Usually somewhere on the Ivory Coast, they moor that ship somewhere off the beach, and some severely underpaid people are out there with their welders taking it apart piece by piece, selling the most valuable stuff first, and eventually all the iron and steel and everything hopefully gets recycled, except for all the, of course, nasty fuels and chemicals and the sewage and all that shit, which just ends up right there in the ocean, right off the coast of whatever country is, having to make its citizens break down ships in such unbearable conditions. But that's just the modern world. 13. Oh, excuse me. Kyle, welcome. Kyle says, "Do you like Punch Bars?" One of my favorites. Kyle, I do love Punch Bars. I've reviewed Punch Bars way back when like the first year on Wheats. I know I reviewed Punch Bars back when they were 225 milligrams. Now that they're 90, they're still great. They're usually one of the most affordable edibles out there. I don't know why they're 90 instead of 100. I don't know why they do it that way. They are just as strong as 100 milligram edibles, in my opinion. And now they have gummies. Yeah, they're great. And again, it's usually super affordable, so love Punch Bars. 13 says, "You should bring the wife in to do a collab video with you." Possibly. We'll see. In the future. I finished 2 books today, actually. 2 audiobooks, that is. I finished Ezra Klein's Why We're Polarized. That's the guy who created Vox. A book that came out earlier this year about exactly as the title suggests, why America is so uniquely polarized, how we got here, why we got here, and if there is there anything we can do to prevent the death spiral. It was pretty good. It if you've listened to Ezra Klein for any period of time, it was pretty redundant. Like, I've heard him make these arguments on his like interview podcast or his policy podcasts before, but it still is nice to have it in a sort of succinct altogether form. And then a book that I liked a hell of a lot more was The Reality Bubble by Zia Tong, I think, a Canadian science writer. Fucking incredible. It is a book, it's broken down into roughly 10 chapters, each one talking about a thing that we perceive incorrectly as reality, when in fact the truth of whatever the situation may be is very different. An incredibly talented writer, just very conversational with her prose, very willing to be experimental, and also she's willing to make big giant pronouncements and is willing to not be an optimist for optimist's sake. I remember I love this so much that I end up like clipping it and sending it a clip of it to my wife. In a chapter about factory farms, she refers to bulls as cum stars, and oh my god, there's so many incredible, wonderful phrases in there. But the book is just chock full of things that you will you can't believe that you had never known before. One that's comes to mind that I already talked about that I find so fascinating is the fact that on Earth you assume that there are only 2 days being lived in at any given time because of the international dateline. You know, somebody's Tuesday is another person's Wednesday and vice versa. But that's not actually true. There are actually 3 days being experienced on Earth at any given time because two countries, which are basically perpendicular on their longitude, decided to go, that were on the international dateline more or less. One decided to go one way, the other one decided to go the other. And as a result of that, there are now, and has been for a couple of decades since they decided that, there are 3 days at any given time. There are 3 different days being lived on in Earth. That's crazy to me. That's so wild. I mean, that means, I don't actually remember where the split is. It either means that somebody is living in Sunday and also somebody is living in Tuesday, or that somebody is living in, say, Tuesday and also Wednesday already. Wild. Reality Bubble. If you like science writing, it's fucking great. Loved it. Talked about books a lot. Pretty high. 13, already went over that one. THC Temple says, smoking on some papaya cakes, bro. BHO, excuse me, butane hash oil, not bro. What are you consuming? Great question, THC Temple. I will go just grab the thing. It's taking me too long. No, I'll finish this and then show you. Most importantly, and while I'm here, is I'm halfway through this bag of Dr. Norm's cookies that I'm doing for a review, so I'm in the middle of a review. Hey, Jude! I'll just let that sit. Thank you for joining us, though, Jude. Seriously. Let's go ahead and do another one of these mini cookies. Because they're terrible. Again, sorry, Dr. Norm. Again, Dr. Norm doesn't even exist. Or he's dead. Boy, do I hate reading that. Mm-hmm. That's for you, Jude. Sorry to talk with my mouth open. Full. my mouth is mostly clear of that cookie, but it kind of has a glue-like consistency once you chewed it for a while. So there may be some lingering. But thank you, Jude. That's very kind of you to say. Oh, yes, I promised to show what this is. This is the same stuff I was doing last week. It's the nicest weed I've probably ever had. Claiborne County is the name of the farm, and the strain is GMO, and it is that 36.25% THC. It is fascinatingly good. It is. It's very good. Oh, hello, Christian. Christian says, I missed the 750 milligram Dr. Norm's cookies that came in the blue bag. I'm not sure if I actually made a review of it or not, but I did do Dr. Norm's back in the good old days. I don't think I ever did the 750 milligrams, but I know I did like their 250 or whatever their sort of baseline was, and thought it was pretty good on the potency front. The taste front, Trip Principi, the science, physics, Principia, right? Fuck you, Newton. Leibniz forever. Welcome, by the way, Trip. I know last live stream I had heavily endorsed, and I will again. The Hulu just came out on Hulu on Friday. Holy shit, excellent, great movie. Palm Springs with Andy Samberg and that new girl that people really like that I can't remember. Christina Militoni? Anyways, doesn't matter. It's Groundhog's Day, but on vacation and with more than one person Groundhog Day. I'm sorry that I told you that. It's probably better that you didn't know that, but if you Googled it, you were going to find that out instantaneously anyways. And everybody loves Groundhog's Day, so that should inspire you to watch it. It is surprisingly great, and it is a worthy take on the Groundhog's Day, what is now becoming formula. And again, it's so great that it is becoming a formula because I always thought it is one of the best storytelling devices, like literal devices, that exists. It's just a perfect way to tell a story about, or a story about character, not so much about plot. Jude says, what's the average temp where you live? Jude, let's see, I will pull up the 10-day. This is the 10-day on my watch here. I don't know if it'll show up. I don't even know if I can get my wrist going. Oh, shit. It's just me being smug. I'm just doing this to be smug. Here's what it says, just to be less of an asshole about it. Today, 77, tomorrow, 74, Wednesday, 76, Thursday, 75. These are highs. Friday, 77, Saturday, 79, Sunday, 78, Monday, 77, Tuesday, 78, Wednesday, 77. So that's actually probably, yeah, that's usually, it will get, I live in Long Beach, California. It's amazing. Our weather is so incredibly, amazingly wonderful. Yes, we do get hot days. We've had, like, Saturday here was brutal. It was like 93 or something randomly, out of the blue. But most days are like what I just described. We'll have like the months of September and October will be really hot, but it's always cool in the evenings, so it's totally livable, even without AC. Long Beach, man. Jude, if you are looking for... I was about to say very fun things with Long Beach, but I don't need to fawn too much. It's weird. I never understood being. It's a beard hair. That's very disgusting. I never understood before, like having sort of local pride or having hometown pride or being sort of protective or defensive about where you live. Growing up in East Tennessee, grew up in a suburb of Knoxville, which should tell you how small it was because, you know, most people don't know what Knoxville, Tennessee is, let alone suburbs of it. And I just did not like where I lived. It wasn't a good place. And just thought, oh, you know, that's not, you know, I'll never be fond of somewhere. I've lived in Long Beach for 4.5 years now, and love it. I absolutely love the area. I know it's a totally irrational thing to say what I'm about to say, but it's like, oh, I could totally just, you know, this feels like home to me. I could live here forever. I've only ever really lived in two places that I can recollect with a lot of vigor, i.e. I wasn't a small child, and that is East Tennessee and Southern California. But Southern California, I mean, it's just like, once you get here, it's, especially Long Beach, it's like, oh, it's perfect here. I don't understand why more people aren't here. And I know that is the same conceited, dumb, illogical, narrow-minded thinking that people who lived in Knoxville or wherever I grew up, that area, were from, who had that same mindset. So it probably makes it worse that I have that and that I recognize it. Boy, that was a long answer. So I live in Long Beach and the weather is really nice. Cool. Javier, welcome. Javier says, what is that paper bag? It is plastic, and it is vapor of the GMO strain weed that I am currently smoking. I think this is what you're talking about. It is a plastic bag. The Volcano is that volcanic-shaped device back there. It has a heating coil and a fan, and then it makes that hot air go up through that heating coil and into this bag. And there's a little oven of weed that sits on top, that will sit on top of that volcanic-shaped device. And that weed is heated by that hot air blown by that fan, produced by that coil, which then is collected in this big, very, no, like this looks way, it's not quite as, oh my God, you wouldn't want your grandmother to see you smoking it as, like, an oil rig, but this doesn't look as, like, innocuous as, like a joint or even a water pipe. Maybe just because sort of pop culture has sanitized that so much. But this looks like, oh my God, you're doing something like, you know, you're doing something way more illicit. Who does vapors from a big plastic bag other than, you know, people who are going to do drugs that potentially cause your flesh to rot off. But again, still not as bad as what an oil rig looks like to outside observers, where you're like, I mean, the applications for blowtorches and drugs before oil rigs was really limited to a couple of activities, and they were some of the more intense common drug activities. So you can see where people would have that sort of connection where, oh my God, what the fuck are you doing? I remember before I moved out to Southern California, I heard about dabs. Dabs are like the crack of weed, man. Dabs are like weed for people who have been smoking weed their entire lives. And I was just sort of kind of almost nervous by, like, oh, the first time I tried it was a big deal. I don't know, expecting it to be a more intense experience than it was. I mean, it is certainly a quicker, easier way to get a lot more THC in your system than doing plant-based stuff. But I assume the reason dabs have had the reputation as they were is that it was a lot of people who had been smoking, only smoked or used weed a half dozen times or something over the course of several years, and then had tried one of these dabs, not done the right amount, did a huge ton of it, and that is the basis people had for it. But I mean, they're really, if you have been consuming weed for a while, a dab is not going to be that outrageous to you. I don't know why I'm talking about this. Revi, welcome, Revis. That's cool. That is cool. Javier says, that's dope as fuck. God damn. Did you create that yourself or see it somewhere? I can't even remember what I'm talking about. That is in reference to, I assume maybe the volcano. I certainly didn't create it. It's German engineering that you pay a lot of money for. The volcano still is quite expensive. 13 says, you ever run out of eddies to review? You should then review flour. So, 13, I'm going to, I used to have this spiel a lot, but I will definitely do it again, because I don't think I've ranted about this all of last week. I'm super flattered everybody who asked me to review like flowers and dabs and all that kind of stuff. It's it would be nice, and there are definitely people who are capable of doing it and do it out there. It's just it's not something that I'm good at, for a variety of reasons. One, the most basic and the biggest reason is, outside of outside of being on the margins, the differences being marginal, strain differences to me are tiny. I don't get a lot of different sensations from weed. It's all pretty much of a piece with me. I'm not saying that weed can't make me feel different. It's usually just more reflects the kind of headspace that I was already in, or the stuff that I am doing while consuming weed, not so much the strain itself. I'm not doubting that people do have differences, or have the ability to discern, and that they don't have sort of qualitative differences from one strain to another in terms of effects. It's just I don't have the radar, the senses to be an accurate judge. So that's one reason I don't do it. And then two, I also just in terms of like taste, that's another big thing. It's not one that I am particularly receptive to either. I just don't have the vocabulary for it. I mean, unlike differences in terms of sensation or feeling, they definitely have different taste profiles to me. But I'm not so. There's never been a weed that I've been like, oh my god, this is the most delectable, incredible tasting thing that I've ever experienced. I must have more of this. And vice versa. I've never had weed that I've consumed that has been so rank and low quality that I've been like, I need to avoid this like the plague. So it's just, I'm not a good judge. And that is why I have not done that. That being said, I have had this thing that I would love to do. I don't know if I've ever really talked. I know I've talked about it on a live stream maybe years ago. I don't know. It would require a lot of resources to do what I'm going to say. Resources that I don't have, neither don't have, nor could even, sort of be party to the ability to do some of these things. But nonetheless, I would love to have some organization run this experiment, regardless, and it would be to do what is known as the trial of Paris, which is a thing that happened in wine, but to do it for weed. So the trial of Paris is one of those most Schadenfreude rich scenarios in modern history, and certainly in all of critical history. And it was the humiliation of wine critics everywhere, where some researchers proved that all of wine criticism is largely bullshit and is 99% cerebral, and most of those effects are brought upon by suggestion. So they did this by basically taking some of the most renowned wine critics, having them do blind taste tests with the most expensive wines in the world versus, and these were the French wines. So this was actually a thing about comparing whether California wines could ever compare to the majesty of French wines. It's back in like the 70s or something. I don't remember exactly when. And so researchers put on this blind taste test, and sure enough, overwhelmingly, when the critics had no idea where the wine came from, when it was a blind taste test, they chose California as the better wines. And of course, when they did know where they came from, they chose overwhelmingly French wines. And the vocabulary that they used to describe the wines basically just flipped depending on whether or not they were able to tell if the wine came from the country that they wanted it to come from. They wanted France to win. So that all being said, that's the history of a trial of Paris. It's the sort of deflating of the ability to say that you have some kind of objective standard or some kind of objective ability to discern quality based upon some totally nebulous and subjective matters or criteria. So what I would love to do is do the exact same thing, but not for any particular region, geographical areas, weed, but to simply do it for strains of weed, or even more basically, take the most basic indica, your most basic sativa, and just have people who claim that they are very good at, sativa makes them feel this way, or indica makes them feel this way, yada yada yada, so on and so forth, that they're very discerning about those things, and do the exact same experiment. Run one round blind, run one round non-blind, and just see what happens. And I would not be surprised to see there to be basically zero statistical correlation between, or ability to discern indica and sativa in a blind sort of use scenario. I don't know. I could be 100% wrong. I would love to be proven wrong, and it would be very easy to prove me wrong. It would be very easy to prove me wrong. However, it would take a lot of resources. You would need, in order to do it right, you would need quite a few participants. You would need, of course, the participants to be people of some stature in the community, people who people respect their sort of taste in weed, as it were. Yeah, I would love to do a trial of Paris for weed at some point. Again, I am trying. I would love for that to be true. My suspicion is that it would look a lot like the trial of Paris, and that there would be, a lot of egg on faces. But I don't know that, and I would love to be proven wrong. And if you are a person who does experience strong differences, I am not doubting your experience at all. I'm not. I'm totally glad for you. In fact, whew, long rant. But yes, that is something that I've always would love to do. There are people out there with the research. I mean, like, fucking somebody contact. What's the High Times? Like, High Times has those kind of resources. Fuck. Vice. Somebody get Vice on this, and they'll do some segment. Yeah, it's perfect for them. Shit. Nobody even has to credit. Okay, boy, that was really long. I am sorry about the rant. King Yeti says there are meth bongs that look just like dab rigs the way they are set up. Just the dab rig has a banger, and the meth bong is a bulb pipe with a built-in carb. Off-putting, to say the least. Yep, King Yeti, you get it. You totally get it. And I'm sure there are people who do use them. Maybe even have convertible rigs. Again, it's... not to disparage anybody who uses dab rigs. That's 100% fine. I'm just saying it is unfortunate that it has that association. I mean, I do dab rigs. I know that association is unfair, but I still can't shake it sometimes. It's like, oh man, this just looks so bad. Javier says, talking about the bag in your hand. Dr. Norms? Oh my god, was this it? Or is this it? I don't know, Javier, I'm sorry. Carlos. Welcome, Carlos says, try the Dom Pen. What amazing, super strong oil. What is that, Carlos? I don't think I've heard of it. Let me know. I'll do some Googling. 13 says, Trial of Paris was epic. That'd be fun as fuck for weed. Thank you. I'm glad you know. Wow. King Yeti says he knows people that have that sort of grotesque convertible rigs. I'm the one who knocks, says Boo from Periscope. Well, welcome, the one who knocks. I'm glad that you can be here. It's ironic that we were just also talking about meth. Not that either of us are using, we're just talking about unfortunate associations. Speaking of, oh, excuse me, butt fuck. Shit. Ass. Shit. Balls. Okay. Dr. Norms. That's why I'm here. I'm doing a review of Dr. Norms. 100 milligram edible. 10 milligram, 10 milligram cookies. I've had 6 of 10. About to have 7. They are hard to get through. They are just have an incredibly unpleasant texture. But I'll do it nonetheless. In the meantime, hi everybody. Takes so long to chew. I'm glad I share that fact with you. Whoa! How poetic. Dear God. Dear God. Let me be clear. It's not the weed taste. It's just like eating a big wet mound of sand. So, for all our new folks joining in, let's do a little. We were just talking about how unsettling doing dab rigs looks, or can look, to the uneducated, the ignorant. So we'll, in the spirit of having things look suspect, I'll do one right now. My dog, I have a dog right there. She always comes up in the stream. She really never gets shown, but she's right there. She's a Great Dane. She's almost 8. Oh, there's another dog right here. This one you can see. This one's like 7. He's a border collie. He's smart, believe it or not. Likes playing frisbee at the beach. I said that word, oh fuck. Uh-oh. Shit. See, I told you he was smart. I said the dreaded B word, and now he thinks he gets to go play some F at the B. And ain't nobody effing his B. If you know what I mean. So this is some kind of wax of some brand or another that I got at the dispensary I go to. It's like 85, 84%, and here, I'll do it for you. So cheers. Not the best tasting, but that's okay. Whew. Wonderful. That'll do. For all of you who were waiting so patiently for that, I'll punish you further by making you look at my dogs. Come here, guys. Nudie. Everybody likes looking at dogs. You're heartless if you don't. Sit. Take it. Sit. Take it. Come on, Fry. You're the star of the show, girl. You don't need to sit. You're too big. Take it. She's old, her bones and stuff. You know. There. Sorry about that. Holy shit. Mark. Hello. Welcome. Am I buffering? Was my stream getting all sharding up? Anyways, sorry about my absence there. Went to go do that dab and give my dogs a treat because why not? Quentin, welcome. Quentin says, "Sup, man? Hope all is well in this COVID-19 bullshit. Have I tried the Lagunitas Hi-Fi hops yet? If I have, what did I think? Thanks for asking, man. I am doing well, as you know, as anybody can be in these times. I hope you are doing just as well, man. I hope things aren't too stressful with you. And if I've tried the Lagunitas yet, I have not. I've, in fact, never done any weed alcohol, like the weed wine, weed beer. I do very poorly with alcohol. I get sick very, very easily. Used to be a little better, but now the older I get, the less alcohol I can take before I get sick. Now I like less than a single drink often will make me quite ill. It's been several years probably since I've really had a drink. I think so. It's not for me, but I know people who swear by those things, and I hope to find somebody who does have an opinion, because I'd love to have a review on one. It's just I'm not the best consumer, unfortunately. Jackson Yosin. I'm so sorry if I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce your name. Jackson, Josin, Jux. Whatever. I'm sorry. Melina. Mr. or Mrs. or whatever prefixture you prefer. Says, do I know about the Rapture? The underwater failed utopia started by Andrew Ryan, the piece of shit objectivist leader in the game BioShock. That's under the sea. I should have said that part first. If so, I do know about Rapture, and it didn't go well. For a place named Rapture, it sure as hell went up in flames. Any other Rapture? I'm not sure. Mark just declares, he said, you took a fat dab. Yes, I did. Thank you for noticing. 13 says, wheats don't get crossfaded. Trying not to. Mark says, BioShock is his favorite. I love me some BioShock. I love it. Loved it in 2007. Was a sophomore in college when it came out. I was already in a libertarian hating phase of my life. One that is oddly consistent and persistent throughout it. And so it really hit home for me, BioShock. Even liked BioShock 2, 2011? 2010. February 2010. March 2010. February 2010. You can look it up. I don't know. Liked it. And the first time through, I really liked BioShock Infinite. I liked it quite a bit. And was a little bit... I didn't quite understand the eventual backlash the game received. However, a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years, maybe longer now, I bought the triple pack or whatever, remasters, went through them on PC, still great the first two, and then got to Infinite, and it really is not good. I was very surprised and very saddened. It just was not great. It's not that fun to play. It feels it gets repetitive pretty quickly. It's just not, the combat encounters aren't nearly as inventive or as fun as they think they are. And it's just one of those games where it's like, it's just so much easier to basically cheese. It's just like, you can find very easy but boring strategies to do things quickly. I don't know. I also, more importantly, found the narrative to be... I went from finding it to be like a somewhat confused kind of story, but like a fun sci-fi narrative with some good twists, to being something borderline like questionably like, what the fuck are you... I don't know. I found the message of the game a little surprising, coming from the guy who wrote the original BioShock, Ken Levine. Boy, I've been talking about BioShock a lot. But also, most importantly, just like a month ago, 2 months ago, something, I finally played through the DLC of BioShock 2 that everybody said was so great, Minerva's Den, and it was. It was so great to be back in the BioShock world, and what a great little, like, 4-hour experience with a little, tidy little story with a nice little BioShocky style twist. It's great. You can find the BioShock trilogy for cheaper than that DLC was when it came out. Like, you can find the trilogy for $15 routinely. I think that was $20, but I'd say the trilogy would be worth it just to play that if you're a BioShock fan. It's that good. It's really cool. King Yeti says his GMO was small buds too. Yeah, they are noticeably small, but it's not about the size of the wave. It's about the motion of the ocean. And so, Mark says BioShock 2 was my favorite because we were able to be a big daddy. Love being the big daddy. I found it even the kind of narrative by BioShock 2 held up pretty well. It's kind of a fun, different view of what had happened. I found the little sisters fights annoying. I mean, honestly, like all the big daddy kind of stuff, it doesn't hold up so well. But yeah, BioShock 2 had the weapons were better than Infinite for sure. There's more interesting things to do. But Mark, if you've never played BioShock 2 Minerva's Den, it sounds like you probably have because your BioShock knowledge is up there. But if you haven't, somebody who just randomly played it like a couple of months ago, it is excellent, and it will give you a perfect BioShock little nugget of goodness with everything you want from a BioShocky kind of story in like 3-4 hours. It's good. Check it out. And with that, I'm gonna have another cookie, which gets us up to 8. Yes, this will be number 8. 2 left. Thank God. Getting there. They seem to be quite strong, by the way. If you haven't noticed, about an hour and a half since I started, and yeah, it might be worth the juice. Might be worth the squeeze. What's up, Jose? Whoops. Man, I think we'll come back on, this is a prediction, people will look back on this weekend in the future as a consequential weekend in movie history. Mark my words. Nobody gives a shit about movies, but I love movies. The guy who has a name that sounds vaguely Lovecraftian, I'm so sorry, Latua, use Latua, says, these are 100 milligrams for all 10 in total. 10 each. 10 times 10. Anyways, so I'm at 80 in now. Movies, I bet you. We never thought we were going to talk about this topic. This weekend, mark my words, may be remembered, or should possibly, I think, should be remembered in movie history as one where the streaming business had started to really, I mean, of course, with the coronavirus and the movie industry being non-existent for the past 4 months or whatever, obviously, but this weekend, so many services had big, giant, huge movies, and both, I assume, will do well in terms of numbers and critically, and they all came out on a single weekend, and they all seem to be doing very well, and people will kind of look back at this as like, oh, this is maybe the weekend where really the movie theater experience it started to be doomed for sure. Those movies, Palm Springs on Hulu, big giant movie. It was the most expensive movie ever purchased at Sundance. You'll see why. Great movie. It's a movie that probably would have been a surprise hit at the box office. It's just that good. Then Apple had the new Tom Hanks World War II submarine yada yada. Tom Hanks directed, Tom Hanks squared, Tom Hanks starred, Tom Hanks written, Tom Hanks catered, Tom Hanks provided the transportation. Tom Hanks will come and watch the movie with everybody who subscribes to Apple TV Plus. Greyhound, is that the name of it? Anyways, another big, giant, massive movie that came out that was well publicized. People had been looking forward to it for a while. Was supposed to come out in theaters Memorial Day. Now Apple spent some tons of money on it. Boom, out. And then lastly, and perhaps I think will be most consequentially, Netflix has, out of nowhere, I didn't really know this existed, this new comic book property movie with Charlize Theron, The Old Guard, and what a surprise from nowhere, a really fun, interesting, new, very obvious franchise, and on Netflix, and so many untold millions of people are going to watch it. So many more people are going to watch that movie than we're going to watch. Pick some big tentpole release in theaters that that was supposed to come out in theaters. I bet you more people are going to watch The Old Guard than we're going to watch Tenet in theaters. And especially now without any movies in theaters, it's just going to continue to soak up views. And with all of these things coming out at one weekend, it's just going to continue to condition people to watch movies at home. And I assume, seeing the analytics at some point and how successful these things are, studios are going to be more willing to just release their movies direct to streaming platforms because they'll have an audience there. So that's my guess. I'm sorry for that, to put that upon you. Aiden, welcome, Aiden. Aiden says, love the latest video. Great work as always. Thanks, man. I'm gonna go do this last bag of. Oh, sorry, I just rolled over my my dog there. You think he's a border collie? You think he'd be smarter? He's not. 3 of 3 for this filling chamber. I usually do 3 bags per oven chamber. All those words are loaded. Now we wait patiently. Yes. Billary, welcome. Billary says, what's up, Wheatsy baby? Have you tried growing? If not, you're missing out. Billary, great question. I have not started growing. I still, living in Southern California, don't have the room quite yet. Boy, you are quite needy, aren't you, buddy? Don't have the space just yet, but it is an ambition, Billary. It is an ambition. And you know what they say about ambitions. And please tell me as well, because I could use some advice. Well, I was going to say, like, oh, I didn't get caught up on chat, but I was. How wonderful. Hey, you're okay, buddy. You want to come say hi? Hi. Now I know what you're thinking. Why would you have a border collie in a city? And your question is so valid. And the answer is, I didn't intend to. When I did live in, had them for years before I lived out here, and had a nice big backyard area. But here in Long Beach, he gets to go do things that I can't say out loud because he'll think he gets to do that when he does it at the beach. This kind of stuff. Does it look sexual? I don't know. Sorry, a protest to even say. Aiden says, any news on the Discord or still thinking about doing that? Aiden, I am so 100 million % glad you asked. There's nothing here yet. I will try to fill it out soon, but go ahead and feel free to join the basic server, and I will start getting stuff organized there hopefully soon. But yeah, let me know if that doesn't work, but I think it'll work. I hope. Again, there's nothing there yet, but feel free to post stuff if you would like. Thank you, King Yeti. And Billary says, they say the ambitious field mouse runs fast through the nighttime moonlight. That's quite the parable. Or aphorism. Or idiom? No, does an idiom have to be clever? Boy, the distinction, there's so many words for little sort of, how would you even describe them? Sayings, little bits of wisdom shared colloquially. Boy, I cannot say that word right now, but you know what I mean. There's so many ways to describe that thing, and I assume that there is some distinction between all of them, but I couldn't tell you exactly what it is. What is the difference between an aphorism and an idiom and a whatever another one of those synonyms are? But then again, that's what the English language is. It's an infinite recursive abyss of synonyms and homophones and homonyms and language families, and it just it doesn't make any sense. Boy, I guess if we're gonna go, if I'll give you one last rant here before I sign off with this last bag. My most pet project of all dumb pet project ideas is I don't understand. I mean, I get it. I that's wrong to say. I don't understand. I know it's people are being, they're being reasonable when they don't even think this. But why have we not tried or given any more real effort as a global people to coming up with a global lingua franca? Like, why have we not tried harder to have a single language that everybody in the globe can understand? I'm not saying we should abandon all languages. I'm not saying that that even should be people's native or first language. I'm not suggesting that. I'm just saying, why haven't we we already know that there are all kinds of cognitive benefits for teaching languages anyways. And I wouldn't even be like so Western centric that, every sort of country or region would have some ability to have some kind of input to this language. It would be an Esperanto type thing, a wholly new created language, and something very simple, something incredibly simple. There are a lot of languages out there that we can already sort of take inspiration from that have very few verbs, and like a more limited set of nouns, but that can be combined in a lot of ways. I've even seen these incredible theories that like you could cover 98% of all communication with just like 16 verbs or something. So if we could just try, I mean, we did try. There was a time. That's what Esperanto nominally was or is, but that was a century or more ago, and it's not even something that is talked about, even though it is something people forget just how powerful a shared language is. And yeah, it would just be, I don't know. As a species, I feel like we are getting so less ambitious. I know that seems weird and backwards and ironic because we're doing so many incredible and wonderful things, but like these grand ideas of what we all can accomplish, instead of just like engineering feats, but I don't know. I feel like we are getting more pessimistic, but I don't know. I'm done. Read up on the Tower of Babel. I don't know if you mean the biblical thing or the incredible web sort of idea. The web, what would you even call it? The web project, the Tower of Babel, which I think Hillary Clinton, if you're talking about the web Tower of Babel, which I think is what it's called, not the biblical Tower of Babel, it is one of the most interesting things I think in the that I just can't believe more people don't talk about or aren't fascinated by the Tower of Babel project online. If that's what you're talking about, everybody should look it up. It is so indescribably eerie, so utterly weird, but also at the same time is so, it makes so total and complete sense once you understand the how of what is happening. It doesn't make what the implications of what is happening there any less spooky, but at least you'll understand exactly how they are generating this fucking craziness. But check it out, Tower of Babel. And with that, I said I was gonna, I'll do this entire bag with you. That was my goal. Tower of Babel. Let me do a quick Google. The Library of Babel is what it's called. Sorry, not the Tower of Babel. Okay, here's the about. I can just... Oh, no, it won't actually... It is not a very good summary of how it works. King Yeti, Bernays, like is that the PR guy? He is, yeah, Eddie Bernays, the PR guy. Yes, he's the guy who basically created the idea of PR. Probably one of history's great villains, right? King Yeti. It seems pretty irrefutable that Edward Bernays and his bag of psychological ne'er-do-well trickery has done a lot of bad for society. Everything from Google tracking every single thing you do to Nazis can all possibly be pointed at old Eddie. I don't know, though. There's an argument. Boy, who's gone some places today? Oh, Aiden says, just join the server. If you need help setting it up, I'm happy to try and help. My username is Schmegel. I hope I said that right. Aiden, yes, that'd be great. Send me a message, private, or I'll send you one if I can remember. And I would really appreciate any kind of help. I'll give you all those wonderful privileges and rights and stuff. And King Yeti sees Eddie Bernays more as his work as if they were warnings. Well, I guess you could say it was prophetic, but perhaps self-fulfilling. Boy. And also, how it makes total sense if you think about it that Eddie Bernays would be such a recognizable name for such a rather innocuous sounding honor, title, the creator or the founder of public relations. But in a lot of ways that makes perfect sense that the guy who created the idea of public relations would be quite notorious and famous, because that was his trade that he invented, was how to create an image for yourself. So yeah, that makes total sense. But I was gonna say, it is strange that people know that his name is pretty commonly known. No other, nobody, does anybody know who created HR? Does anybody know who created well, people do know who created accounting, sort of, at least modern accounting, like the double book principle. I don't remember who, but sort of these more mundane, sort of clerical-y kind of things, or not that that's clerical. That's public relations, not clerical, but sort of just kind of white-collar-y jobs. Nobody knows the name of any creator of any of those things, but PR, one that is nominally about how to make your clients very famous, everybody knows who it is. So there is a sort of nice symmetry. I don't know how you would describe it. It just makes total sense that everybody knows who the father of PR is, because that's his job. PR, and that's what they say, if you look him up in a textbook, but I think it would probably be more accurate to say he's the father of propaganda. But, that's just me. Aiden says, oh, thanks, Aiden. I appreciate that. And Billary says, a lady named Karen invented HR. That was pretty good, Billary. That made me chuckle. If not out loud, at least internally. And with your funny observation, your witticism, I'm going to say farewell. Matt Caps, thanks for joining us. Sorry that you came in on Periscope just as we were leaving. I'm not sure what your emoji stream is there, but it looks wonderful. And Yeti, before I go, would like to counter that Mr. John D. Invented propaganda. That's a discussion for another day, but I like your theory. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. We'll do this again soon.